Well, welcome back to Shimpling Park Farm at this pretty vital time of year.
Harvest 2022 has started.
First driver of the new combine. How's it going?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
So, new combine, new driver, and you're combining in the agroforestry. So you're going in between the rows of trees.
Yep.
Haven't touched a tree yet. Well, with the spelt finished, it's time to move on to the more traditional wheats. So the idea is that the combine harvester, once started in the morning, never stops. It unloads on the move, and the trailers rush the grain back to the grain store and then back to the field for the next load. What are you doing?
I've got a little havel in my shoe.
Yeah, but should you not be steering?
No, it steers itself. Just got to keep an eye on things now. Modern technology, no Luddites on this farm.
On most of our fields, we chop the straw and spread it behind the combine, getting as much organic matter back into the soil as we can. Well, it's a nice sunny day and the crops are ripe, but very sadly our combine is standing still. A part has broken, Dover is currently blocked, and the new restrictions on bringing things in from Europe, it's taking 4 days to get a part across. But the sleepless team who work around the clock at Class Combines at this time of year got us going as soon as they could. But it's time to harvest the lentils today. We're harvesting them a bit early because they're still standing, and if they lie flat on the floor we really aren't going to be able to pick them up. It's quite a challenge for the combine, but that was the point of this new flexi cutter bar, to get really low. And this is a new crop for us, so it's a bit of a learning curve. It's hot and damp with these lentils. We need to get cold air blowing through them ASAP, so there's a bit of a rush on to get it spread out on the drying floors. But with the fans on overnight, the heat is cooled out of it.
There's already, you can see the dust coming all the way through it, so the air's got right the way through it. All the little green ones have gone dark.
So today we're combining the vetches. It's a creepy crawly plant, a bit like a pea, so it's incredibly difficult to combine. Why does it get so tangled up?
Well, it's like a net. The whole crop's just sort of netted together.
Right. Why are you doing it early in the morning?
To try and get it before it gets too dry and the seeds fall out, basically.
Okay, so there's a compromise between green straw and popping out pods.
Yes.
It's been so unbelievably dry, historically dry, that we're really worried about running out of grazing for the sheep. So we're going to bale this vetch straw in case we need it for the sheep to eat now. We've even baled the meadow grass on the farm drive. This year is the year to be experimental. So while Sam and Peter are combining over there, Charles and Andrew are thinking about next year's crop. This was a spelt field. They're just doing the bare minimal cultivations so that they can get a green manure in here to feed the soil until next spring when we'll put the next crop in.
So we're just rolling the field just to help sort of break down the clods.
Charles is rolling to try and break the clods up, but also to try and protect any moisture left in the soil. To be fair, it's like a desert out here. There is very little moisture in the soil, but what is there, you just can't lose. What is that little furry animal in your tractor?
That is my tractor mascot. That's Steve the unicorn. Every tractor should have a mascot.
Okay. And these blisteringly hot days have gone on and on, day after day. We're getting fuel deliveries about once a week. How many litres are you putting in here?
5,000 today.
A combine can use about 60 litres an hour, and those prices are definitely on the rise. There'll be a lot of darting around, combining things as and when they're dry, but this year it's pretty flat out. There's no dew in the mornings, and there's no rain, and there's no damp in the evenings, which would normally force a combine to stop, which makes for a very smooth but an exhausting harvest. So what's this crop you're doing now, John?
We're doing some spring malting barley, going to make organic beer, and most years actually it goes out to Holland or Belgium. It'd be great if we could send the UK.
So our amazing team just keep going. They are putting in extraordinarily long and hot hours. Over on the sheep side of the farm, things are not quite as smooth. We've had absolutely no rain, so the grass and the clover have died off. In fact, they've gone the same colour as the sheep. They're also getting out all the time in search of anything green to eat. The soil is so dry that the fence posts are moving. And where we have electric fencing, the earthing stakes aren't going into the ground at all. Joe is spending a lot of time moving the sheep around to keep them fed. This is a long job, but it is made easier with his trusty dogs.
Instinctively, their pack behaviour is to bring the sheep, whoever's kind of top dog in their eyes. In a wolf pack hunting situation, I would then be the one that would sort of catch and kill the sheep. But what we've taken out is we don't actually catch and kill them.
And we still haven't had any rain, so it's incredibly dry. But these sheep seem to be living on almost nothing. They still seem to be very fit and healthy and growing. But it's time to wean them now. Probably a little bit early because of the lack of rain. The mummies have rather had enough of the babies, and vice versa really. Before they get on with the weaning, the dogs have a lovely cool down. Then all the sheep go through the race, as they call it, and the mummies go in one direction, guided by a gate, and the lambs get weighed and go in the other direction. Like us all, these sheep are incredibly thirsty in this unrelenting heat. When they're on temporary arable fields, which have no mains water, a huge amount of time is being taken up driving water to them. How much water are we going through a day?
This group is drinking about 2,000 litres a day.
Oh my God.
So the whole flock's about 50,000 litres a week at the moment.
50,000 litres a week.
Yeah.
And it's time for the biannual National Sheep Show, where John feels very flattered to be asked to speak on where livestock can contribute to a sustainable and regenerative, environmentally improving, carbon negative method of farming.
I can't tell you about how to look after sheep. Joe at the back, our shepherd, will be able to tell you that at Shimpling Park Farm. But what I can tell you about is nature recovery and carbon capture on our farm since we converted to organic in 1999 and reintroduced sheep back in the farm.
There's a lot of lovely new kit here to think about, not to mention some fabulous looking sheep of every shape and size. And this is one of my favourite away days in the farming year. Joe and John and I have come to Sussex to the home of Chris and Caroline Hodgkins. It's time to start thinking about next year's lambs, so it's time to buy our daddy sheep, our rams. Joe and John have gone through all the stats and they're checking on motherability, they're checking on prolificacy, they're checking on live weight gain, they're checking on fertility. Joe's choosing which ones have wool that might be a bit too long in our fly-ridden bit of Suffolk. Ones he feels are standing square on their feet. Ones he feels have a long enough back to do the job.
We want 3 rams.
Yeah.
And we've got 5 we put down as definites.
Okay.
So just have to see how much we go for.
Okay.
I haven't thought about my budget.
Yep, Lord, 15. 15, 4, 15.
950.
1,000 pound of salt. 15, 16, 16. 15, 12, 1,200, 1,200 pound up. 1,700, 1,700, what's left? 1,700. 50 flights, 17. Number 2, 17, 3, 1,000. 50, 30, 30, 30, well, 15, 40, 40, 100, and again 15, 15, 15, 15, again, right, 1,500, 1,500, anybody else? 1,500, 50 flight, 15, number 2, 15.
How many have you bought?
3.
Are you happy with
Very
them, Joe?
random. Yeah, I think I am.
Is the first time you bought a Romney Ram?
It certainly is, yes.
Oh, yes, I'm Peter Sawford. I've been here for 3 days now doing the organic inspections on behalf of of&g. The first day was just going around looking at all the land and the sheep. We check invoices, delivery tickets, growing records, storage records and where it's sold to as well at the end of the day. Checking where the seed comes from and things are not used that they shouldn't be using. Every year there's a scheduled inspection, but we can do spot inspections with or without any notice. To be a certified organic farmer, you have to have an annual inspection and, as I say, possibly spot checks as well. So without those, then you would lose your certification to sell your products as organic.
And out in the fields, our fabulous harvesting team are still hard at it. It's so hot now, the straw's actually gone white instead of a lovely golden colour. How's it going, Peter?
It's very easy harvest. It's been dry pretty much all the way through. All the crops are standing. 7:30 in the morning to midnight.
How many days have you done on the trot now?
I haven't a clue.
You don't know what day it is, do you?
No, I don't.
So whose job is it, yours or the combine drivers, to make sure it doesn't spill over the side?
Yeah, I think I'm going to answer that. It's fine.
Good yields or medium yields?
A lot better than I thought they were going to be. Spring crops that haven't had hardly any rain have yielded reasonably well.
The grain is being rushed back to the grain store, where our great new team member is carefully monitoring it as it's so hot. What are you doing, Charles?
Taking a sample
Yeah.
from the crop, and then we'll do a moisture test, a bushel weight, so we've got a rough idea about sort of weightage.
So what's this one?
This one's 11.7 moisture and 69.4 bushel weight. 35.1 degrees as well.
So how are we going to cool that down?
So we'll put the fans on tonight and we'll just try and blow cold air through it through the night to help bring the temperature down. And we'll just have to keep checking it. I'm Charles. I'm now here as one of the full-time tractor drivers / farm workers / sheep people / everything. I'm used to sort of chemicals and fertiliser and everything, and seeing how we can farm differently and more effectively and better for the environment, instead of just putting chemicals on everything and hoping that it grows. No, really enjoying it. Wish I'd found this job sooner, really.
As organic farmers, we can't use artificial nitrogen, so we have fallow years where we plant clover to feed the soil. We plant the clover underneath the last crop, so that when you harvest it, the clover is already well established. And what are you doing?
I'm watering my metre of stubble.
This year, before the drought, the clover got going really well, but now it's all died off. And if it doesn't come back, it will have serious consequences for the whole of the next 6-year rotation. John, ever the optimist, is trying to work out that if we do get any rain, will it come back or is it gone forever?
It's like your lawn is very dry and parched, but it will come back.
So this is your scientific experiment.
Hardly scientific, Alice, but it's an experiment. If you look carefully here, you can see, look, this grass is coming back. There's a little bit of clover, very exciting. A little bit of grass here as well. Grass coming back.
And harvest is nearly done. There's even rain forecast. The final bits were all the trials and experiments that go into bags. And in record time, the grain harvest is finished. Slightly weird to be finishing the hottest harvest in memory under a rain cloud. We nearly had our celebratory beers in a shed. There's almost no grass left now, so like many, we've started feeding our sheep with the vetch straw, which they do seem to love, thankfully. Hopefully we won't have to use up too much of our haylage supplies that we made to feed our ewes over the winter. In the end, the heavens opened. Time will only tell if it's too late for the clover or the sheep grass. It'll certainly make the job of getting any new crops in the ground a little more possible. Thank you so much for joining us as we have the grain harvest of 2022 in the barn. Always quite a big moment on a farm. And we really look forward to seeing you at the beginning of our new farming year in the autumn.